We are live. How's it going, Matthew?
Going wonderful, Tyler. How are you?
I'm doing good, man.
Let us
Doing
cheers.
good. Cheers. Cheers to you guys. This is going to be episode either 6, 7, or 8.
Something like this.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening. I have no clue what's going on.
You don't really even have to tell them, and we could just, have this conglomerate of unreleased podcasts and then release them whenever the fuck we wanna.
That's why I keep you around.
I do what I want.
I keep you around, You got good ideas, man.
Yeah, thanks for letting me live here.
Come on now. You pay rent. This is your home.
It's a wonderful home. I love it here in North Glen, Colorado.
It's pretty dope.
It is.
We got a good crew, and it's so weird how everything came about. Also, just our group. I met you at Electric Forest in 2015. Randomly, I had mutual friends with you. You were playing there because you won the UNCE challenge. And I just remember being at Silent Disco, just being like, "This dude's sick." I was like, and then ever since then, it's been hit you up randomly after I got into music, and then obviously you went through some things, and now we're here.
That is true. That is true. It's very interesting to me always how these random connections that you think, not that you think they're meaningless at the time, but you think that they might not lead to some of the most important things that have happened in your life. Like me ending up living here, living with all you musicians, crazy bastards. I mean, this is one of those weeks where, what if I talked to you 2 or 3 times because you've just been working on music constantly? It's little crazy mad scientist, in my bedroom because that's where the piano is. And just I'm all right, dude, I'm trying to take off my pants so I can take a shower. Just kidding. It's totally funny. I'm just trying to make jokes.
Yeah.
No, I'm very proud of you. You've been working very hard. Tell us about that.
Well, we all work really hard,
This is true.
We hold each other accountable, honestly, and
accountability.
Yes, but you can't replace the work in anything you want to do. So if you want to do anything, there's no half-ass in it, or you're not going to be where you want to be in life. And anybody that you aspire to be, they worked very, 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 very hard. And on top of that, luck.
Unless you're Donald Trump. I'm just kidding.
God.
Well, I'm not all kidding. He did get left millions of dollars and has been bankrupt multiple times. But yeah, he's a good businessman. That's what everyone keeps claiming, at least.
Oh yeah, it's true.
I don't know. I don't know anything. So,
but I think we work hard. But the thing is, we see the effort you put in, it gives you it right back. And we talk about the muse and energy and stuff like that. And when it comes to art forms, I think of it as this higher power. Everybody wants to be a rock star. Everybody wants to do very artistic, independent things that they're in control over, bosses, all that. And I don't think the universe is going to give that to somebody that didn't earn it. And you have to earn that. And that's the same thing. It's just the universe giving you energy back.
100%. You make me think of, we were watching Inception the other day, and this is why I love Christopher Nolan so much. I just resonate with his concepts and his movies so deeply. But in Inception, they're talking about when you're in a dream, your brain is creating your reality and perceiving it at the same time. And it's almost and then I kind of, it's the same scene, but I'm mixing up the part I'm thinking of. They're talking about architecture when you're designing a building, and she's it's almost like it's designing itself, pure inspiration. And I could totally relate with that. When I'm really in the flow state working on music, and I feel it's not, and I'm sorry to rip off what other people have said, but it's so true because they put in the words of it's not you doing it. It's there's something else there kind of guiding the process.
Oh, I totally.
And I'm so interested in trying to tap into that more and more. What that energy given back. It's almost as if the muse, the universe, God, whatever the hell you want to call it, is recognizing that you're putting in something, and it's let's give him something back.
Yeah. And even your thought, your space and how you're feeling. I had a weird synchronicity. It was when I first got my DJ decks. This shit's crazy. Got my DJ decks. I quit my job I had, and I went up the elevator to my floor I was at, and there was this guy in the elevator with me, and he's like, "Yo, man, you started a DJ, all this stuff?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Dude, we're on the same floor. He's like, I DJ at the Mid all the time. The day I got my DJ decks.
That is crazy.
It's just the universe, and we have synchronicities all.
Yeah,
the
should we
time.
talk? Did we talk about the one on the last podcast about me meeting your sister?
We did not.
Okay,
No,
well
you
let's talk
got
about
it.
that, because that was insane in my mind. But basically, what had happened is Tyler and I went back to Chicago on June 5th together to visit family. And I had never met his sister before, but Tyler talks about her constantly and how amazing of a person she is.
I love you, Nana.
And I have just seen a few pictures of you guys together, on Facebook or something like that. I just remember seeing
not much.
Yeah,
You
not
haven't
much, like
no.
a couple pictures. Maybe some old. I don't know. I don't remember. But I'm standing at this bar in Chicago in Villa Park called like Crazy Pour. And I've never been there.
Yeah, it's a really good bar if you guys live in
It
Illinois
was a
in the
good bar.
suburbs.
I would highly recommend it.
Highly recommend.
Yeah, check her out. But yeah, I'm staring at this chick, and my friends are like, "Why are you staring at that girl?" I'm like, "I think I know her." And they're like, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah." And I almost didn't say anything. I was like, "I have to." So I walk over to her. I'm like, "What is your name?" And she's like, "Melissa." I was like, "Are you Tyler LaFortune's sister?" And she's like, "Yeah." And then like we just both like explode. I was like, "I'm his roommate," and like. All right, just talking about pure mathematical statistics of that. I'm at some random bar on a trip home to Chicago, which I'm never home, and she's at this bar like an hour away from where she lives.
You don't live there either. It's a
That's what I'm
different
saying.
town. It's a random town.
Yeah. I'm from Elmhurst. It's a town. It's a town or two over, but like still and at the exact time, I wasn't gonna go there that night. It was really last minute, and so. Total coincidence? Could be, absolutely. But I think synchronicities are much more romantic and they're more fun. And even,
dude.
I don't know, like I've heard people argue against them and say, okay, you never notice the things when there's not the pattern.
Yeah. But we also, there's like things with like producing and stuff like that. It's like not a common thing at all, and like, when I got hired at Rock Bottom downtown Denver, the first person I talked to was actually TJ, but the second person I talked to was Braden. And he's like, "Oh yeah, man, I make beats and all this stuff."
I don't know if you could say it's not a common thing at all here in Denver.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Everyone
true.
I meet is a DJ.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm a DJ, bro.
You're right. But then that, and then the fact you're friends with Nathan and that hookup too, and then he was friends with Nathan, which is you guys were friends before you moved in, but then I met him at Rock Bottom.
Well, that's another whole weird synchronicity if you think
And
about that
it's just,
too.
It's
So here's
endless,
one with
endless.
Nathan. Nathan, if you dig into my whole thing with him, it's kind of weird. My friend Greg introduced me to Nathan, and we went like tubing together. And then, I slowly realized that he worked at Rock Bottom. We bumped into Taylor at Arise Music Festival, and he's like, "Wait, you know Taylor? Like, what the hell? I work with her." And then I moved in here. And Nathan was just like, "What?" Because you worked with him at Rock Bottom.
Yeah, he didn't even know that you were going to move in here.
No,
it was pretty abrupt,
idea.
right?
Yeah, it was abrupt, yeah.
Yeah.
And like, not even related to any of that, but the icing on the cake is that me and Nathan have the same birthday, March 23rd.
Whoa.
Which is, again, it's pretty likely
Still
that
pretty
that
crazy,
can happen.
though. Still pretty crazy.
But not only we connect so well, we're such good friends and we have the same birthday. So I don't know. It's weird shit.
You're an Aries, right?
Yes, I am an Aries.
You're so an Aries.
I am an Aries.
Yeah, look at your horoscopes.
You just give off that Aries vibe.
You do.
Man, you will face challenges today.
Matt hates on the horoscopes because they're so broad that it could apply to everybody pretty much. But there's some good ones. There's science to it. What was the TV show we were watching the other day? We're talking about religion and how people always like want more. Like, is this not enough? You are literally made from stardust.
A star exploded and over billions of years formed into you.
Is that not enough? Like, why do we need more?
No, that's true.
That's more things.
That's why I love like people like Neil deGrasse Tyson. Even though we were talking about how he was kind of a dick to Joe Rogan on his podcast.
Yeah, he had
kind of ego problems,
Yeah,
but I do love him because he has this way of kind of divorcing science from non-religion. So, the whole concept is like, oh, if you're a scientist, you're an atheist or whatever. But like when I look at DNA and I look at all of these processes and just like the perfect intricacy of all of it, I mean, I am filled with a spiritual feeling, whatever that is, you know?
Yeah.
And so he's all about that. Like,
Does
again,
he agree that it's like so crazy that there's religion like to it? Like there's magic to
well,
it?
that's exactly.
That's what he's saying.
Yeah, pretty much.
there
If
is
you want to
fucking
call it magic, God, religion,
Whatever,
it's
something
just,
more.
It's a beautiful, beautiful pattern. And I just hate that idea of like, oh, it's all just blind energy that's somehow smashed into each other in the perfect way that made us. I don't know. Doesn't sit well with me. I don't buy it.
That's also just not crystallized, it's not fully, there's things that are unexplainable still, and science is progressing.
Dude, we were literally watching the Cosmos earlier, hosted by him, and there's this one part, he's like, no one on the planet knows why this happens right now. It's one of the biggest mysteries in science. It's like, if that makes you uncomfortable, then then I don't know what to tell you, essentially, because we don't have all the answers. But that's, anyone who says they do is full of shit.
But that's also kind of like the thing of hope and religion. It's like the unknown, and there's a lot of people that like I could see are trying to find the answers, but like, what world would it be if we just knew all the answers?
Exactly.
Would it be as fun? It's like, it's not fun now. We don't.
Literally, it wouldn't be.
That's why we talk about like utopias, like yin and yang. There has to be good, there has to be bad, there has to be known, there has to be unknown, and that's the beauty of it. Because if you just knew everything, if it was good all the time, it would be boring, because there'd be no bad. You would have absolutely no comparison for 100%. The good and bad.
You can't know the good without the deepest bad. And like,
yes.
So funny, I was talking about someone because we've been talking about this term toxic positivity a little bit.
Oh my God.
And I got into a conversation with someone, and I pointed out, and it was kind of just a joke, because like as I thought about it more, it can exist at some level for sure. But I was like, the same people that posted about toxic positivity posted Ram Dass quotes when he died. And Ram Dass, when on his prayer altar, had a picture of Donald Trump. And so his whole thing, and so people bring up Hitler. Okay, I get it. You can't love Hitler.
Wait, would he have a picture of Donald Trump on
his prayer altar?
Oh,
and so he would have a picture of his guru, picture of all these like Buddhist people, a picture of Jesus, and then he also had a picture of Donald Trump. And so like,
interesting. Do you know like why?
Yes, because his whole thing was like, it's so easy to hate that person. Of course you should hate that person, but the much more difficult thing to achieve is to love that person and to see everything that's led them to become what they are. And just like we said, the yin and yang, it's almost like a gift of the universe saying, here's the deepest, not what you should not be. Now you know what true good is.
Yeah.
If you want to look at it like that. Yeah.
I mean, we got pretty triggery the last podcast, but like, when we talk about seeing the good, like not seeing the bad, demonizing people, and I think that's having true serene, being truly peaceful. No matter what, no matter the differences or people do acts, just still having the empathy, finding it in your heart, just like
it's hard sometimes.
It is really hard.
Well, there you go. How do you find the empathy for Hitler? That's one I do have trouble with.
Yeah,
there is a weird line
for sure,
and so people do draw that line in different places. But I feel like there is some sort of line. But even that, like again, Joe Rogan always says this. Like even Hitler was a baby at one point. He wasn't born Adolf Hitler.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's how we could look at an empathetic way towards Hitler. Like, obviously, it's Hitler.
Right.
It's fucking terrible.
Fucking Hitler.
But seeing like the nature versus nurture, seeing the situations in his life that made him evil, and having the empathy, like
maybe Hitler was raped over and over again.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why we always
not that would excuse anything either.
Yeah. No.
Again, it's just kind of understanding that every brain is a very, very intricate, delicate thing that's been molded and shaped and abused
outside sources.
Yeah, it's a shame.
It is.
And I mean, look what he was able to do to all the quote unquote good people.
Yeah.
Get them on board with Nazism.
Yeah.
And I've heard people relate Trump to that, and I can see some elements of that, like in the sense of like. I don't know. I don't even want to get into Donald Trump right now, to be honest. As I said, I thought about it. I was like, no, fuck
the thing
that.
is, probably going to get some shit for this, but I see both sides, because there was a post about Donald Trump like 2 days ago, and it was like, you'll learn from your history and all that. And when you read it, it's so funny. Bill Burr has a comedic skit about this. Like when you read something, it's very literal. But then when we watched the video of Donald Trump saying it, it was like,
well, that's the okay. From very early on, like, all right, when Trump got supported, I was when Trump got elected, I was basically appalled. I was like, I didn't think he had any chance. I was like, no fucking way. But then what I started seeing was exactly what you just said, because on both sides, it's all this big clickbait game to get as many views or get as many people to come to their side as possible. Yeah. And so you see both sides.
Yeah. He's still a jackass, and we both do not want him to be president.
But you see, of course, that is true. But like just seeing both sides totally misportray what actually was said or what happened. Yeah. It's just sad, because you know how, I believe in rigorous honesty and giving people at least the time to speak and the benefit of the doubt. And like, that's just taking the most, again, this idea of uncharitable, taking the most uncharitable analysis, the little snippet of what they said, and twisting it to your advantage.
Yeah, it's true, man. It's true.
That's a bummer. But are you excited for the 4th of July this weekend?
4th of July. Oh, are you trying to? We're trying to be on lighter. We're trying to be on lighter notes.
Shit, we said we wanted to be.
Hey, we gotta.
Hey, we'll go where it goes, right?
We walk the walk, man. We walk the walk.
This is true. Well, go ahead and say what you were gonna say then.
I'm so high, I forgot what I was going to say. I smoke a lot of weed.
Well, I am excited to blow off some fireworks this weekend.
America, baby.
America.
What was it, 17?
Shotguns and beers?
What was it, 1776?
1776.
Yes.
You ever seen that movie?
I have not.
Mr. Feeney plays John Adams, I believe. Oh, God, it's been so long. I forget which dude he plays. But you remember Mr. Feeney from, like, Boy Meets World, right? The teacher?
I didn't fuck with any of that. Like,
oh my lord,
dude, my sister's 10 years older than me. My parents are
Tyler
super metal.
Doesn't know Boy Meets World.
My sister's super metal. Like, I was like listening to Cannibal Corpse at 9. We weren't like watching like the Brady Bunch or anything like that.
I was right there with you. However, I did have a soft side.
I know.
What was it? I liked Boy Meets World, and then there were probably some other like really cheesy shows I liked. None are coming to mind right now, but I liked all those like Friday night special.
Oh yeah,
like sitcom.
Did you get into The Hills? Like I got into like middle school.
Got into The Hills.
Oh, I was such a hopeless romantic.
No, I'm not. Never mind. I'm not.
Almost canceled.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Just kidding.
No idea what you're talking about.
Hold up. I think we might be redlining. Start making random noises. All right, we can stop.
Is that a bird? Is there a bird in our basement?
It's a bird. Dude, we got a bunch of new bird feeders outside, and honestly our backyard, it's like Snow White. Like we're just walking out, just like flocks of animals and squirrels and everything. It's awesome.
I know I've told you this before, but me and my ex used to bird watch a little bit. Like we kind of got into it. We bought some binoculars and like we started keeping track of the species we saw, and it's awesome. It's just like Pokemon, but in real life. It's like, oh, this is a something red wing. Like cross it off, add it to my bird decks. Like Pokédex.
Yeah, it's so funny. I just gave Matt shit tonight. He just said he's been bird watching, but now he's making like a lot of cheese plates with like fruit and crackers. I turned
30 in March, so I'm doing super 30-year-old stuff. Like
I'm just like, man, you are over the hump.
Cheese and fruit plates. Dude, I'm telling you, it's so sad to say, but my ex rubbed off on me. She was all into like the fancy shit, like charcuterie plates and steak tartare.
It's treating yourself.
Yes.
It's treating yourself.
But it was interesting because I had never been exposed to a lot of those foods before because my parents aren't big foodies.
Your parents aren't, Rick?
I mean, my dad enjoys good food. My dad likes my mom and my dad like a good like steakhouse. They like a good piece of meat, whatever. But they're not into like French cuisine.
Everybody loves steak.
And like, exotic restaurants.
Yeah.
It is.
We got to bring you to Nobu in Malibu.
Nobu in Malibu.
Oh my God, man. Kanye talks about it. It's like you get like squid that's like $1,000.
I'm the greatest of all time. I'm a musical genius. Yes, Kanye, we know you're a musical genius.
Listen, I'm not a gay fish, man. I'm not a gay fish.
Gay fish, y'all.
It's just a joke, man.
Does everyone out there, everyone probably knows this joke. You should tell it just in case, though.
Okay, on South Park.
Yeah, the South Park joke.
Yeah, it's like the whole joke was, do you like fish sticks?
Do you like fish sticks? I don't
Yes.
know. Yeah, I like fish sticks.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so you're a gay fish. And then somebody said Kanye did it, and Kanye just could not. He's so egotistical. It's just like he could not handle it. So like him and his boys and his posse just like killed Carlos Mencia, and also Carlos Mencia got blamed for making the joke because he stole it because he steals jokes.
No, Carlos Mencia stealing jokes?
Yeah,
No.
his career ended after that.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Did you know Joe Rogan was one of the ones that like called him out publicly for it too?
He was on stage with them.
Yeah,
You saw that
on
video.
Stage, yeah, that video. I didn't know that.
Joe Rogan don't give a fuck, man.
No, I
also,
mean, he was being straight up.
Joe Rogan does not. He's very honest.
He was kind too. He's like, I think you're really funny and you're really talented, but this is
He'll
not
call you
your
out.
material.
Yeah,
Like,
and that's not okay either. You can't steal people's art.
well, that's the thing, man. People kind of, I don't know. Sometimes there's a sense of entitlement. Like, I'm gonna do what I want. No one's even gonna say anything about it because I'm Carlos Mencia. And then
Douche.
called out, douche.
Stealing art, work, and
Yeah.
that's what. Are you gonna be satisfied? And when people steal things, or like, you got to like steal tools because you learn from the people that are better than you. But like, if you steal something and you build a career off that, like you're gonna be very unhappy one day in the long run because there's a sense of pride to that. It'll catch up to you. You may be blinded by the success now, but it'll catch up to you later on, being like, I suck.
You're also a younger person, and so you don't. It's hard to predict the values that you'll grow to hold as you become older. And so what you think is like a move to get quicker to the top or something when you're, a younger artist.
Just not thinking straight.
You're not thinking straight. And then 10 years down the line,
Get caught up.
Yeah, you realize like, fuck, like either I'm a fake or like, even if you have the money that I'm just like, this means nothing, whatever. It could be a million different combinations of that, but I could see it happening. I've done stuff like, it was all from like, a place of trying to further my career and just wanting what was best, but like I've paid for Facebook ads and like gotten Facebook likes and like it's brought me some gigs and stuff actually. So I'll never regret it.
That's not being genuine though.
No, it is, but it isn't. But what you realize later is like, those people start to not interact with your stuff because they're not really interested in it.
So it's also not genuine. Yeah, it's not the most genuine process.
If you just take the time and do it more genuine, you're gonna get more out of it. You're gonna get what you're actually looking for, even if you don't know that's what you're looking for yet.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
No. Yeah. Totally.
So,
But that's why I steal shit all the time.
I mean, I just constantly listen to other people's music, and I'm like, I literally just throw another track into Ableton, and I just fucking try to copy it exactly.
I'm a kleptomaniac when it comes to music.
I just change the key and like change the order of the melody notes, and I'm like, boom, hit.
Yeah.
Let's see, whose music have I stolen? Definitely Bass Nectar, Getter, Tipper.
But the thing is, we have stolen from
Just
them.
kidding.
We've stolen from them.
Oh, subconsciously, for sure. 100%.
Yeah. And that's the thing with any art or any crafts. We've been talking about how we think we're better fighters now because we've been watching so much UFC.
I'm pretty sure that I am.
But that's the thing. You steal from the things you experience, see, hear, and it becomes you because you are your experiences.
100%.
Yeah.
I think I said this before, but I've subconsciously stolen things on accident so many times. We've definitely excuse me. We've definitely sat down to make a track before and listened to some other music, and like try to get a vibe that we're going for.
Yeah.
I'm a million people have done that. Sitting down, my guitar teacher used to say to sit there with the record and like slow down the record and try to learn the guitar solo and figure out what they're doing. It's all part of it.
Yeah. I told this story at the Nick Leon video, but it was like hour 2 in, so I don't know if anybody heard it, but it's documented that the Beatles had an old like CD player, and his manager would interchange the CDs and bring new ones in, and they would go press a button, and whatever record came up, they would do that vibe with them. And that's 100%. How they'd be like, all right, we're doing this today. We're doing that vibe. And it's also a good guideline to any art form or whatever you want to do.
Dude, I've been teaching like some piano music, and like there's a lot of like old folk songs and variations of folk songs in there. And I swear I hear like Beatles songs in there. I'm like, I should do some more thorough, like, going back to the ones where I noticed it and try to see if I can match it up to anything. Because I swear I'm like, I hear a Beatles song here, and folk music's like fair game pretty much. Like anyone can kind of copy that shit.
Look at the examples of Led Zeppelin.
Yes,
A bunch of old blues songs and everything. There's a YouTube video that's famous for it. I haven't watched it because I don't want to get my heart broken. But also, Drake has I'm dropping Drake quotes. Very wise.
Drake once tweeted.
Wait, no, it was Lil Wayne. It ain't about who did it first. It's about who did it right.
Yeah.
That's some gang shit. Don't completely copy, but also like those songs didn't hit as hard as Led Zeppelin could ever hit. As Led Zeppelin did, the people that they stole from, they could never hit it as hard as Led Zeppelin could, even 100%. Though they stole kind of from
they were a magical combination of human beings.
Led Zeppelin, that's my number one if I could go back. Led Zeppelin by far.
Yeah, go see him.
Oh yeah. Who's your number if you could go back? Deceased.
Whew. That is a good question, sir. Number one deceased group or artist that I would see.
Deceased and mutilated. So they had to die a very bad death.
I would see Hendrix.
Hendrix?
I grew up, like, my dad raised me loving Jimi Hendrix, so like I have a bias towards that. Yeah. You're imprinted with certain things as a kid, and they just like become like some of your favorite things. But Hendrix,
and also you can become Hitler by your experiences.
This is true.
Dude, actually, I don't know, Led Zeppelin or Stevie.
Ooh, Stevie would have been awesome.
I would let you choose for me, but it'd have to be the two. It'd have to be Stevie for me.
Yeah, you love Stevie so much.
I do love Stevie. We were partying all night one night.
No, we weren't. We never do such things.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But let's say we were partying all night. What were we doing?
Let's say we were partying all night. Let's say it was like 6 a.m. and talk about synchronicity. Well, actually, this is another common one. It's like producers in Denver. I was looking up we had different music on, but I was looking up Stevie Ray Vaughan music on YouTube because I was about to look it up. And Matt's walking in the bathroom. He's like, oh, this is like the time where Tyler usually puts on Stevie Ray Vaughan or Elton John or something like that. And I was looking it up when he said that. I was like, shit.
He's got this like goldfish element where once he reaches a certain point of the night, he's like a gremlin. He's like, oh, Stevie Ray Vaughan starts popping out of my body. He's like, don't feed him chicken after midnight or he'll play Stevie Ray Vaughan the entire time.
I do get past a certain threshold and it's
and then Amy Winehouse is another one. You throw on a couple of those Amy videos, which are great.
Valerie, the acoustic version when she's like in the green room.
Yeah,
look up Valerie, acoustic version. She's like in a green room. You'll cry. I promise you. I cry all the time. It's so beautiful. One of the best. It was just so crazy having this like little white girl in a new era. And to revive jazz music. And she also had one of the most beautiful, uniquely jazz voices ever created.
Yeah,
and
she had one of those special things where when she was performing, you felt like you were truly in touch with her.
Yes,
she was not holding anything back. She was spilling her soul.
Yes, and you connect with that.
Yeah, some people, like, even if they're great, I've heard great singers, like, I don't know, they're robotic in a way, It's like they've had too much training or too much something.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Amy Winehouse, what is she? Is she a singer or is she an artist?
She's an artist.
She's an artist. There's a lot of people that are vocalists, singers. There's a lot of pop stars that are famous for just singing over people's lyrics and songs, and they're very good vocalists. They're appealing to the eye. But when it comes to truly music that's going to touch you and resonate with you, make an impact on you, feel a connection, you only find that through artists, not through something that's not even genuine too, because you didn't make it.
100%. And that's how I used to feel about metal. Or actually, I take that back. I didn't feel this way about metal, but as looking back, I started to realize that it was just like, play as many notes as you can, be a robot, play to a metronome, which there's a lot you can learn from that. Don't get me wrong. My technical ability skyrocketed from doing all that stuff, but you lose some of the soul,
Yeah, we always talk about it, like metal, like it's cool to go fast, but once you learn what they're doing,
I like to go fast.
you know, like once you learn what they're doing, that's not really like a soulful thing. You
No.
know, it's just very, you've done
Mindless.
this 10,000 times,
Yeah.
and it's just very fast, and also it's been done before.
Yeah, that's very true.
You know, you could expand from it, but being unique, and that's why, you know, gotta
This
switch
is
it up.
I was thinking about this like a minute ago. I don't want to forget it. Have you seen this video of Britney Spears like dancing insanely?
Yes,
Oh my lord. What
have-
do you think about this video?
I have empathy for her.
Oh, you do.
I do. Do
Leave Britney alone.
It's not leave Britney alone. I think there needs to be a self-awareness. Like, you have to know when you're past a point where you like don't post that video. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's self-awareness and realizing it's like, but also get it, girl. Fucking dance your
What
ass
I'm
off.
most curious about, I suppose, is what happened to all her dancing skills.
Not being able to go to McDonald's. Like, imagine a reality. Like, when we talk, who knows, man? Who knows what has happened in her life? Like, imagine.
You're right. I should have
Imagine
more empathy for Britney.
Imagine being an animal in a zoo. Like, how much it would affect your life. What if you walked outside your house right now, Matthew, and you couldn't like get in your car because people are swarming you, and that's every day. You can't do anything. People are
she's
swarming you. It's just like
she's probably insane.
It's like zombies, you know. Like
but Jerry Seinfeld pulled it off.
Yeah. He's a Jew.
What are you insinuating, Tyler?
But they're very smart and they're very conservative.
They can be sometimes, can't
conservative.
they?
Her career was made off shaking her booty, dancing. What did Jerry Seinfeld? He was doing knock jokes for like 20 years in New York.
My friend Jay Stein, we were in AP statistics together, and
In high school,
yeah, and both just always so baked.
baked.
And, yeah, and like we sat next to each other, and we would just like be passing out with our heads on our table. But our teacher was really awesome, Mr. Schoenberg, probably still teaches at York High School, and Jay, I don't know. I just remember Jay being so smart, man. Like he was one of those people that just didn't have to try very hard, but he knew what to do. It was weird, you know, when you see people's brains like that. He's just
like he didn't have to do homework or anything.
no, yeah,
It
and
just
like
worked.
he just or like if he didn't, he just knew what to do on the tests and
How was
yeah.
his street smarts though? That's what I care about.
You know, Jay has a lot of street smarts, but Jay is also one of the most ridiculous human beings that you will ever meet. And Jay Stein, I hope you hear this because that is a compliment. He's just, there are no words. You got to meet him. We got to get him on the podcast. Jay Stein is an anomaly, but yeah, he's a badass.
Dude, you got a good crew. You got a bunch of talented, very talented people around you.
A lot of good people from
Yeah.
where I'm from. I'm very fortunate to have so many good people in my life.
Yeah.
Definitely true.
Yeah, I met your crew in 2015, but like really going back now, like I wasn't worried, but I was just like, I was worried to meet your brother because I didn't want to be disappointed. You know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm saying? I was like, do you know what? This is my boy. He has to not, the acorns can't fall too far from the tree, you know?
Totally.
Yeah. And then I walk in the door and instantly me and my dad are hanging out with you and your family and just like we've known each other for years.
Yeah, man. Like my parents are amazing. They're both like so amazing people and have influenced me in so many ways. But my brother was like the biggest influence in my life and so much of like my personal preferences. Like I told you, Metallica was always my favorite band.
Oh yeah.
Like, I wonder why that is.
What's the age gap?
He's 5.5 years older
That's
than me.
big though. That's
It is,
that's very
yeah.
big because in your adolescent ages, that's a very big difference in your life.
It
because you
was.
are experiencing things way ahead of your time.
So he got me into metal really young and playing guitar. My dad played guitar though. So my dad got me and my brother into playing guitar.
Okay.
And my brother was just like, he was like everything when I was a kid, man. He was like such a badass. I looked up to him so much. And then like I remember being really young and like he would have like his friends over for sleepovers or whatever. And like I'd want to be down there and hanging out with them all the time. He'd be like, all right, you know, it's time to go upstairs. And like I didn't understand why. I'm like, I just want to hang out with you guys. I thought they were so cool. But like looking back, I'm like, oh yeah, I was like 7 years old and they probably wanted to talk about dirty shit that I shouldn't hear, you know?
Yeah.
And a lot of things. There's a lot of
Yeah.
elements that go in. So I don't blame them at all for that. But it was just, yeah, I looked up to my brother a lot.
It's awesome having an older sibling. Like I wish I was an older sibling to somebody, but being the youngest, like the experiences I had were just so awesome. And I just remember like me and my sister were just so crazy. She was wild, man.
Really?
Oh yeah, she was crazy. I remember like she had this boyfriend like when she was like 17 or 18, and he was taking me to get ice cream or something. And then he molested me right afterwards. No, I'm just kidding. But
never funny. Never funny.
It's never funny. So then
that was hilarious.
I remember
You're fucked up.
I remember he opened his middle console, and I just saw like a bag of weed, and I just instantly got home, and I told my mom, and I guess she like knew my sister smoked weed, but she acted like in front of me that she got in trouble for it. And no, they were like, oh, it was grapes. Like he ate all the grapes, and it was just the stems.
Oh, makes a lot of sense. I would believe that if I was a parent.
I did believe it, honestly.
Dude, I remember the first time I saw weed ever. All right, I must have been in like 4th or 5th grade. So like 10 or 11.
Yeah.
So which would make my brother like 15 or 16. And his friend Pete Garsha was babysitting me for some reason. I don't remember why my brother couldn't. He had something to do, but my parents were gone too. And Pete's like, yeah, dude, when your brother gets home, me and him, we're gonna fucking smoke some weed. I was like what? Like, what's weed, dude? And like he like pulls out his backpack and unzips the zipper and like pulls out this bag of like, I have no idea. It was probably terrible weed, or maybe it was awesome. His brother did live in Colorado.
Do you guys,
so.
I mean, talking about weed, like, I don't know your experience, but do you remember what weed looked like 15 years ago?
Yeah, when I was 15,
like the shit
I bought my first weed I bought was 30s. Yeah,
yeah, but like the supply I saw, and I would go to college towns too. Like 16, I would be driving around, going to different colleges, and like every single bud had fucking seeds in it. Everything compared to the weed right now, like I love bringing weed back to my dad and my mom because they're like, what is this like science experiment that I'm looking at? He's like, I've never seen colors like this. It's like a crystal ball.
It's a whole other thing now, man. You're right. There was good weed back then, but it was really expensive and it was really rare. It was not nearly as frequent. But then when I started getting to like, later in high school, and especially like 19 and stuff, certain people in the crew started diving down paths that they may not have enjoyed. Or, I don't know, may not have been best for them. Either way, started selling weed. But they had some good shit.
I think that's a good idea. I sold weed. I love having success stories. I sold a bunch of weed, and I was very lucrative from it. I smoked a lot of free weed. It worked out. Didn't get arrested, and now I live in a state that has legal weed. So,
well, now you'd be looked at as a doctor.
now I'd be looked. And dude, isn't that just fucking insane? Like thinking about the atmosphere of society about marijuana like 10 years ago and 15 years ago, even in Illinois. Illinois was bad. It's obviously more liberal here when it comes to progressive ideologies like legalization of marijuana, but Illinois, it's pretty conservative.
Proud of my home state for legalizing it.
Yes, proud of it, but like you have Chicago, but outside of that, it's very conservative, and not too far down, there's rebel flags in Illinois. It's very southern. But the climate was 15 years ago was still devil's lettuce, like if you got caught with an 8 of weed, like it was so taboo. We'd be so scared to be caught by the cops with an 1/8. And now we are legally growing 8 huge marijuana plants in the house. Yes, sir. We could grow 20 total. But seeing just the change of like there was the reality we lived in, that was the way things were. And then fast forward just 15 years later as what was it? I think it was Nixon or
Reagan, the war on drugs.
Yeah, the war on drugs. Yeah. Reagan. What was he? Was he 50s?
No, it was like 84 or something.
Oh, damn,
like that,
I'm way off. Well, still,
80s,
there was, okay.
Something like that. I'm bad at stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. But anyways, just like this shift and how quickly things could change into something this society is way different than 15 years ago.
Well, like I had the thought, you know, oh, don't want my students' parents to see me smoking a joint on this podcast, or all these insane thoughts. And like we don't even have any weed right now. We're just drinking a beer, having our little Juul nicotine thing here. But
we smoked weed right before this.
Well, of course, and like we've smoked weed on multiple podcasts, and like slowly that stigma will disappear. Where like drinking a beer is going to be the exact same thing as smoking a joint.
Yeah.
So many people, it's still federally illegal, which I hope will be gone eventually. But so many people still have that negative mindset on marijuana.
Oh, yeah.
And when they see someone
Yeah.
smoking it, they're like, you're a junkie, you're a drug user. I mean, caffeine is a drug, nicotine is a drug. Those are both worked into our work
This
schedules.
is a way worse drug than marijuana. Way worse. This has killed 100% more people than weed has killed people.
Psilocybin mushrooms don't even make the list of the top 25 most dangerous drugs.
No.
You can't die off them.
No.
They will make you think that you're dying. And
yes. That's the point, kind of, because like, damn, I will die one day. And I realize my awakening, and I realize being here now every single day counts.
That's what that book, The Psychedelic Experience, is about. And that's what like the Tibetan Book of the Dead, this idea of ego death. It's like you go through death once already, or maybe multiple times for some people, but you go through this process of thinking you die, and thus eliminates that fear, an actual fear of death, and makes you come to understanding with it,
realizing, and Western ideologies, we do not talk about death.
Nope.
There's no death over here. We don't talk about it, and we dwell on it so hard when it happens for a week. like in today, like there's a funeral and there's like just like 3 kids just standing there on their phone. It's just no recollection of what happened.
I haven't looked it up in a while, but I remember looking it up a while back. It's like worldwide, like 1,400 people die every minute. It's like we're literally dropping like flies, and more people are being born than that every
unfortunately.
minute. Yes, this is true. Overpopulation is a real issue.
It is a real thing.
But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. So when you start to see it like that, if you have this humanitarian outlook that, this species either collective consciousness or kind of global mindset, then I mean, we are just a big or you want to look at it like an organism, or just
we are,
just
and when you
dropping and reborn at a crazy rate.
I personally only found that through psychedelics.
100%.
That's when I was truly seeing that everything's connected, and it's like the butterfly effect. Like everything's connected, so the energy you put out is connected to what you will spread, and that is love, that is hate, and anything you do, the way you carry yourself, the way you walk around, your emotions. Like people walk into a room, like we were talking about the primal instinct that you could not say a word, but if a man walks into a room that is feeling violent tendencies, we can pick up on that naturally as human beings. And we could pick up if somebody's acting weird. We live with each other. So if we're in a different state of mind, like we'll be like, yo, like, what's up? Like, what's good? And without saying anything. And that just shows the energy that is convoluted from you and just around us, and just a part of this weird organism that we're all a part of.
Yeah. Do you remember earlier when I was playing the piano and I like in my head I had this thought, I'm like, is there someone behind me? Like maybe there is. And then like I look back and you were slowly creeping up on me in my room. Like, I knew there was someone there, and there could be a lot of things, creaks in the floor, little micro noises, whatever. But I wanted to bring this up. I forgot to mention it earlier. Rupert Sheldrake, he's like a super controversial scientist, but he's a very intelligent scientist and rigorous with his experiments, but he gets a lot of backlash for people saying he didn't do his experiments right. He says he did. I don't know. Either way, I find it interesting, but he talks about this. He studied this phenomenon of knowing when someone's looking at you from either behind you or out of your field of vision.
Yeah.
And so he's done these tests where over 50% by a statistical, a statistical significant amount
Okay.
that people are able to sense that there's someone looking at them. And he also noted, I think this is the most interesting part, that
That you can't or
that
you can't? Oh, for
that
sure.
you can notice when people are looking at you even when you can't see them. And children are more attuned to this. Over and over again, all the children he tested are better at it than adults.
Is that when I forgot who said it? I always forget things because I smoke a lot of weed. But they were talking about how our sensories kind of become limited because our experiences of life.
Yes.
And
it's like cementing the neural pathways in your brain of whatever the most common things you experience are. So if you play music as a child.
Yeah, like sensors your actual senses, like in a way. And that's why kids can sense more. And it's proven in multiple studies, like the study you were just saying, like when it comes to true like physical natural senses.
Yeah, 100%. Another interesting one is like blind people, you know, especially people that are born blind, their brain has never had to process visual data, visual input of any type. And so all of their neural pathways are dedicated to other processes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's like when you like have something, if you work at something like this hard and you work on these things like very little.
Yes.
But if you spread that out, it diminishes everything. And it's more spread out. So if you have one that, it's like you know those fountains that come from the floor, like at water parks, and when you put your foot on it,
and it starts coming from the other one larger.
That's
a great analogy.
Yeah,
I used to love doing that as a kid, like trying to step on as many as I could, except for one, to make it as tall as possible.
And that's the same way as senses, I think. You know, sensories.
Yeah. Like going along with that, this one guy, they like healed, like. On paper, it should have healed his vision. They like restored all the visual cortex, all the neural connections. I don't know the science behind it. But what happened was just that, like once it started working, he was just seeing like blurry images. His brain had never had to process this information before, and it didn't know how. And so it's like all his bandwidth, like we talk about all the time, was taken up by other things, and he couldn't. It took him. I don't think his vision is not fully restored, but it did get better over time, I believe.
Okay.
Sorry, this is triggering a bunch of crazy thoughts, but have you ever seen this one where they put goggles on people for like a week that flip their visual field upside down?
Oh my God, that would be a nightmare.
And then after a certain amount of time, your brain flips it back.
Wow.
And then they take off the goggles and it takes some adjusting and then it flips it back again.
That is fucked.
Dude, your brain is insane.
Oh, your brain's nuts. And we are so unappreciative of it.
Dude,
we use it
100%.
for your brain is insane and you're scrolling on a fucking website looking at other people live their life.
Well, that's why like Sam Harris has gotten me so interested in the brain. He's a neuroscientist, and like when you really start to think about it and drill down, like everything you experience is through your brain. You know, we talk about this idea of a reality tunnel. Yeah. Every creature has its own reality tunnel, and it's just your brain's way of processing information and creating a logical way for you to navigate through reality. It's fucking insane.
Life, man.
Life is crazy.
Matrix.
The Matrix. Let's awaken from the Matrix.
It's just so crazy.
There's a new Matrix movie coming out.
Yes, you just told me about that.
I'm so excited.
I'm taking the hell of that blue pill, man. Give me 3 of them.
Give me 3 of them blues.
Give me 3 of those blue pills.
How many matrices can I wake up from?
I'm trying to go deep.
Well, then there's this theory that, like, I think they might even mention it in the movies that there's like a, you know, it's like Inception. It's like there's a matrix within the matrix.
Within a matrix.
That maybe, but maybe this whole plot where they make them feel like they're awakening from something and fighting back against the AI and like fighting this war for humanity is just another way of keeping them complacent in an even deeper matrix. But then you could just do that over and over again.
You could just do that over again.
Dude, I brought this up before, I think, too, but we read a book in school called The Philosophy of the Matrix, and it was like one of the coolest books I've ever read. There's so much philosophy in the movie.
Did it have similarities?
Oh, yeah. Like all the main themes of the movie are all stolen from like old philosophical allegories, like the allegory of the cave. I got to have you read that. I've mentioned this one to you a few times. But
God,
yeah,
there's so many books and so little time.
I know. I want to get into Audible for that reason, and maybe start listening to books while I'm driving.
Dude, I've been doing that for a minute now.
May as well.
I've been falling off because I've been actually reading and focusing on music, but why not?
Well,
we live in this technology age. Like, why not let somebody else read the book for us?
Exactly. And if you miss a part because you're not paying attention, go back.
Yeah.
It's still probably going to take you less time than having to sit down and find the time to, put which I've been trying to do more of too. But there's also a cool feature where like you can be reading the actual book on your iPad or whatever, and then if you have to leave, you could like pick up from where you are on the audio version in your car.
That's dope, man.
It's like pretty tight. You gonna open up that beer?
I'm trying to. It's let me open it up.
Open her up, dude.
I just need one. We can chill for a second.
Don't worry, I'll take it from here.
Yeah. Talk about life.
Talk about life.
Freaking life.
I'll talk about my YouTube channel that I just started.
Yes.
I just started a YouTube channel called Matt Relay. Check it out at Matt Relay. Might be at Matt Relay Music. No, I think it's just at Matt Relay. Either way, just doing all sorts of music lessons. I
made your art.
Tyler made the artwork. He killed it. And just trying to.
What are you doing on your channel?
Well, I'm doing a lot of music lessons, so guitar lessons. I just started it, so I just have a few. I am going to be making custom backing tracks for people to jam over, and then I have a couple of performance video of me jamming over those tracks.
Yeah.
But then down the line, I want to do Ableton lessons and tutorials.
Yeah.
I want to do piano stuff, music theory, maybe just like some, in music school, we talked a lot about music performance and the psychology of it, and there's a lot that goes into that. Thought maybe I could talk about that a little bit. Fun stuff, stuff I like to do.
Interesting. And we've mentioned it many times, the amount of badass musicians we know, but we don't know them on stage because of social anxieties, all these things. Like, to get up on a stage, that's a very traumatic experience for a lot of people if you don't have that in you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I remember a kid when I was in all through elementary and middle school, he could not make a speech in front of the class, and for all the school projects, anything, he would just always start crying immediately. Would you?
I don't know. I don't know what happened, dude.
That's probably why you're like you are now, because you're like, you had to face your ultimate fear, and now you just like leaned into it the other way, and now you're just like one of the most publicly unshameful or like don't give a fuck person I've ever met. I mean, for instance, the picture you posted to Instagram of you, like, it was like a very well taken artistic portrait of you sitting on the toilet, pooping.
It was the first time I got my new phone, and it has the new portrait mode. So
that's how you chose to test it out.
Yeah, I was at my mom's crib, and then my mom likes it, and somebody was like, "Oh, that's a very clean bathroom," and I tagged my mama in it, and that's my family. Like, my family is way more crazier than me. But that is true. Like,
goddamn crazy Italians.
Yeah, we're crazy Italians. French Italian, La Fortune. French.
The Italian community has now been triggered.
Yeah, I got those skills.
I actually remember hearing the Italian community didn't like the show Sopranos because it like portrayed Italians as all like gangsters. Like,
I think the biggest thing was Jersey Shore, when they had a very big backlash because
the problem was that was real. The Sopranos was fake.
Yes,
Jersey Shore was real.
But that was Jersey, man. Have you been to Jersey?
I have been to New Jersey, but I've never been to the shore. I went to a music festival in the woods, so no, I haven't.
The only time I'll go to New Jersey is if I'm working there and getting paid.
Have you worked there and gotten paid before?
Well, I went there once and I experienced it. So anytime after this, I will have to be working and getting paid to go to New Jersey.
Got it. Needed the clarification.
Yeah, it's just. But also, I like the dirt. I like getting down in dirt when it comes to society.
Like getting dirty?
Yeah, I like getting dirty.
Like dirty dancing.
I just like seeing. It's not even like being a one-upsmanship because there's just certain locations on the planet that are just very different.
GTL, bro.
Very different, but I
Gym,
like
tan,
I like
and
being
laundry.
in the middle of that and just looking at everybody and just like, what's this shit's crazy.
Dude, that's why we have to travel together to like another country. Like I said, going to Nepal was one of the best experiences of my life. It was just so cool, like just
Yeah.
being plopped in another culture.
Yeah.
That's so different.
We haven't talked about Nepal.
No, we haven't.
No, you go ahead, man.
Yeah,
Go
dude, I'll
ahead.
talk about my
There's
trip
so
to
much.
Nepal.
It's so interesting.
My ex and I went there for our honeymoon, and I love how you do this. Is really emotional for me. No, I'm just kidding. But we we went there for our honeymoon, and we flew. It was like fucking 30 hours on planes. We flew to LA, laid on the airport floor for a couple hours. Flew to China. It was like a 14-hour flight. Laid on that floor for a couple hours on a layover. Nothing was open yet. It was like 3 a.m. And then we flew like another 6 hours to Kathmandu.
Jesus, how many hours total?
It was like 30 hours of traveling.
Wait, on the plane?
Well, no, that was with those
Oh
layovers
my
and stuff.
god!
But you know, there was 14 hours to China, 3 hours to LA, so that's 17, and then like 6 to Nepal.
Were you fucked
So-
up?
Yeah, well, you know, here's the thing. When I got there, I was so excited that I didn't feel the jet lag at all. But when I got home, dude, I was wrecked for like a week at least because it's the exact opposite of us. They're right now. What is it? Like 10 o'clock or something?
It's literally 12 hours.
Yeah, it's like 12
It's
hours
11:22.
difference,
It's
yeah.
11:22 there.
But yeah, we flew into Kathmandu, and the first couple days we just spent time in Kathmandu, saw all these crazy Buddhist and Hindu temples. Kathmandu is just like there's no traffic laws. There's buses driving around cows. Cows are sacred, so there's just cows laying everywhere. People driving in between the buses on these little motorbikes, like 8 people
Yeah.
hanging off the back of the motorbike, like 3 kids on this woman's shoulder. It's crazy. It's very poor.
great. Yeah.
But yeah, that was amazing. And then we went to Pokhara, and they got this badass lake there. And then we did a 5-day trek through the Himalaya mountains, man. And like, that was so cool. Like, literally spent the whole first day just walking up thousands of stairs, and I was so tired. I was like, oh my god.
I just can't even imagine the visual aspect. Like when I look out to the mountains here, what's the highest?
Like
14?
14,000?
14? I'm just like, man, this is huge.
Yeah, Mount Everest is like 29,000 feet.
To think about like
It's
those,
insane.
but doubled, like I can't even fathom it.
No, it was unbelievable, man. It was breathtaking. And the part that was weird to me is when we started, we were pretty low, like only 900 meters. So like 3,000 feet or so.
Yeah.
And it was very jungly. It's like there's monkeys and there's like we didn't see any, but there's like crazy big cats and all this stuff. But then you just go higher and higher and it gets colder and like we didn't even. That was the easy trek. Some people do like Everest Base Camp
Yeah.
and whatnot.
What's the
Fucking crazy.
highest one like me and you would be able to do? Like something that would push us, but
We
not,
should do Everest
nothing
Base
like
Camp someday.
nothing like too crazy though.
Everest Base Camp would be
Yeah.
like the.
Do you know the
perfect one.
elevation
Yeah,
off
it's
the
like
top of your head?
19 or 20,000 feet. No, I want to say like 19.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And so
Yeah.
that trip's a lot different. You're in the mountains on the trek itself for like at least 14 days
Yeah.
because there's acclimation days because you need to stay at a certain elevation to get acclimated to it. Otherwise, you would fucking pass out if you kept trying to
Yeah.
keep going.
I think
So-
that's some white people shit. Y'all are crazy, man. It's because I've never done a 14er. I've gone to the mountains a lot, and I've gotten to summits, not 14ers, like 8s, 9s, 10s, you know.
Right.
And I could see the same view that I could see at a 14er. But me and my brother, Devin Haas, we went up. We're like, we're going to do this 14er. We're going to climb it. Started climbing. We're like, okay, we're going to do this once we train. So we're going to drive up it. But we drove up it, and we were right at the base. Everybody was taking pictures up there. And I looked at Devin. I was like, yo, do you feel weird? He's like, yeah, dude, I feel crazy. I'm like, I feel drunk right now. Like, honestly,
Crazy.
dude, I was messed up. And I think I'm very sensitive to that. Like, my equilibrium gets like thrown off like very quickly. Like, I can't do any like roller coaster rides or anything like that. So I think I'm just sensitive to it. But like, even driving up it, stopping, taking a photo, like driving down, like I was kind of not feeling comfortable to drive.
Interesting.
Because
Almost getting some vertigo.
yeah, man. Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. And I was feeling impaired.
That's your instinct telling you to get down and
you
get away from these
why
dangerous
you this
cliffs.
why you this high, man?
I heard, you were saying like I heard this black comedian one time talking about that. He's like, I forget the exact wording about it, but like white people do the craziest shit, like base jumping, skydiving, bungee jumping, all these fucking squirrel suits. He's like, you ain't gonna find black people out there doing that shit. He's like, we're smarter than that.
Man.
Fucking rich white people, dude, doing crazy. They're like so bored at their jobs, and they've like accomplished every business,
Yeah.
goal that they can, that they're like, I need to jump off a building in a squirrel suit.
Just testosterone of white privilege. I gotta do
Privileged
crazy
cavemen.
shit. Privileged cavemen.
Shout out.
Yeah. I love having my brothers and sisters like back in Chicago, like when every time they talk about like a white person, it's like, oh, I'll like read them like a news article, like somebody doing something crazy. They're like, it's gotta be a white boy. It's gotta be a white boy.
It's gotta be a white
Crazy
boy doing that
asses,
shit.
man. Crazy. We just got too much time on our hands.
Yes, we do, which has been good in a lot of ways, but
Yes. We've been working hard,
we have been, man.
dude. Manifest your realities.
Manifest and work hard. I told you I found that book from when I was a kid where it was in 3rd grade, and I wrote, it's like called My Life.
This is so beautiful that he showed me this. It's awesome.
Yeah, dude. I'll have to bring it down here sometime and like show it on video. But like, it's like it was just called My Life. Had to write it. It was like each grade, like each year you're born, and then 1st grade, 2nd grade, and then 3rd grade. But then they had you put future, and I drew this like picture of me with a guitar, and it was like, in the future I want to be in a famous rock band. I want to be the lead guitarist and all this stuff. It's like I knew at a really young age that's what I wanted, man. I got really, really lucky with that.
Yes, you did,
Lucky
man.
as fuck.
And we always talk about it, like the luck of people like finding that at a young age. Just like the difference of my upbringing and your upbringing, and we always talk about this too. There's so much shit. We always talk about like there's some of the mass murderers are usually very highly intellectual people, like very intelligent people, and seeing like the way society brings people up. First off, it's way different than murderers being intellectual, but like the promoting mediocrity and not realizing that this kid could be truly, it's possible. There's people that are doing a bunch of really cool things, and there's people in your life that are going to tell you that you can't do that. Well, why can't you do that? Because there's somebody else that's doing that. And in the society that we're brought in right now, is people suppress that. And because we're so just engulfed in this, get a job, you got to be safe, we got retirement, all these things. But I think it's all bullshit. You could get anything you want in life if you work hard enough for it. And with that outlook, that's why our society is not the way where it's supposed to be. Because there could be so much growth if we had this outlook of this, finding these kids' talents and not suppressing it and making them follow this route of their gifts and their natural abilities. And
yeah, I mean, I 100% agree with all that. The only problem is that, like, in order for the machine to keep churning and all the gears to keep going, like, we need people filling all those positions. And so maybe some people love being a business administrator at a
well, those people will do it though,
office or something. I don't know, like, I think finding pride in whatever you do and finding pride in service, you're serving a company or you're serving people, trying to find the silver lining can be important. It's hard if you work at like a factory farm and you're slaughtering cows all day. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of just, I can't really find the silver lining in that one.
Yeah.
I love killing cows.
I think you could still have that outlook of like bringing people up, because there's a lot of very, very smart people that could do many things, but they choose to be a business manager or a business owner.
Very
and
true.
Because that's what they're actually compassionate about, and that's not like a bad job, or just finding the gifts in kids and upbringings. And that could be business, even though it's not building a rocket or making change, but truly embracing and backing adolescence's gifts. And
Yeah, we had
talents.
this janitor in my elementary school, but like he like played guitar and he would come in and play guitar for the class. And then like when my friend's mom died, he was at the funeral and he was like really involved in everything. And he worked there for years. And you could just tell like he took a lot of pride in who he was and what he did. And he was foreign. I don't remember where he was from, but like
Yeah.
you know, I paint the story of maybe he didn't have a lot of opportunity and like
The immigrant
he viewed,
mentality.
exactly. This is not something to be viewed as negative. It's an opportunity for him to
Yeah.
have a life, you know?
Oh,
And I always thought that was really cool.
and just modern society, like going to Nepal and seeing it's not like this everywhere,
Yes.
you know? And what's the name of our podcast? Privileged Cavemen. There's a lot of Americans or just very first world modern societies that don't realize what
Privilege we have.
privilege we have. Of
Yeah.
How many faucets do we have in this house that could turn on hot water instantly?
Right.
That is not
Clean hot
that
water.
is not the
that
reality.
you can
Isn't
drink.
Nepal like you
Oh
don't
God! Like it's you know in Mexico you're not supposed to drink the water, but like they're used to it or whatever. But like
Yeah.
in Nepal it's not like that. There's no clean water. No, I don't want to say no clean water, but it's very
rare.
hard to come by, and a lot of people get sick there every year because it's hard to find clean water. And so that was one of the biggest things that stuck with me. I was like,
Yeah.
I can go, like you just said, I can go home and literally press a button and have clean water instantly. You know.
We don't even think about that. Something so think about that.
I mean people all the
Think
time that
about
don't
that.
drink tap water, and I get it. You have like places like Flint, Michigan. There's some distrust
Yeah.
in the way that people treat our utility systems, but at the same time, it's like, what privilege we have to be able to press the clean water button.
We are so we're so oblivious to it.
Totally.
You know?
Most people don't think twice about it.
Yeah.
And you can't even blame them, you know, because
It's just our reality. It's just
Yep.
this is normal.
This
You
is
turn
normal.
on a light switch and we could have this 3-story house and
Right.
lights wherever you want, whenever you want.
it's like a kid being born into a billionaire family. And of course he's going to, unless you take really, really strong action to prevent this, he's going to become spoiled and he's going to become
Donald Trump.
unappreciative. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And again, you can't blame them, can you? Like,
It's your
they're given
experiences.
everything. He's got a butler that gives him
Yeah.
like chocolate milk.
Do you think they're
and-
going to be thinking about the humility?
shakes?
Yeah. We think about
Slurpee
that because
machine?
we've experienced this. We're on this level, you know? But we've experienced this, and that's why we have empathy towards it. But like being born in the rich family, that's why there's a lot of rich people that are pricks because they just don't even have the
entitlement?
Yeah, but also having empathy towards them and
Yes.
realizing that it's not their fault sometimes, you know?
No.
And it's tough to swallow that, but it's true.
Sometimes it's just a shame though, because even though it's not their fault, it's like there's nothing you or I could do to even begin to guide this person down the process.
Oh
of the
yeah,
changes
never
that would
even
need
met
to be
them.
made.
We got to meet them, talk to them, and change their life.
And
Like
then I guess
imagine that.
And I guess who are we to, you know, maybe them being a prick is what they want to be. You know?
Yeah.
But-
And that's but
Bygones.
yeah, like it'd be so hard to make change, but like, and that's another thing with the internet and this, like, we hate and love people so much that we've never met in the flesh.
What's that Drake line? Let's quote Drake again.
I quoted Lil Wayne last time,
Oh,
but isn't that psycho?
yes.
How much we love people that we've never met, how much we hate people that we've never had a conversation with.
Oh, absolutely. I've been guilty of it, like with musicians, like repeating things that I've heard about people that I have no idea are true or not, or like good and bad, you know, like folklore, this, that. And then like when I really sit there and think about it, how dare you?
I don't know if they could hear it.
You got the gate.
I have a gate on my digital audio workstation that you have to
Specifically
hit.
made to filter out farts from the sound.
So usually, like, we can only catch this because it's a higher, like, it's a more intense frequency,
More amplitude.
more amplitude, and everything that's like kind of quiet, it kind of gates off. So when I fart, you don't have to acknowledge it next time because you embarrass me in front of our 28 fans.
Thought it would be funny. What is it in Midnight Gospel? He's like Turd something, or like, what is his name? I don't know, the guy, like, I'm just gonna say like Jim Buckley's like, and to my one viewer, Jim Buckley, Jim, I live for you.
Yes.
It's so
Hey,
good.
a journey of 1,000 miles takes one step.
It does indeed. And then you know what you do after that first step?
What?
You take step number 2.
Jesus was a bottom.
How dare you?
Yeah, I just don't care.
I just don't care.
Oh my God, Tyler said Jesus was a bottom. We're going to cancel him.
I'm offended.
Good.
To all our Christian viewers out there, I am with you.
I agree with a higher power, so I kind of have your side. But there's some things that are kind of sketchy. I'm not going to lie.
Jesus was a hippie for sure. Long hair, sandals,
Yes.
preaching about God all the time.
Black.
Probably black. Or at least much darker.
What an
than us.
oxymoron.
You know, I just heard something really interesting the other day, though. It was people bring this up about actually like white. Yeah, people bring this up about like I don't know, like systematic white what's the word? Appropriation of ideas and things like that. They bring up Jesus being white. That like, of course, you know, white people made Jesus white and he was actually darker and from Israel or whatever.
Yeah.
But all around the world, Christians in different cultures, like this Korean Jesus, you look him up, like there's all these different Jesuses that look like their culture. It's a way of
Are you serious?
Yeah, and so it's a way of getting people to begin or to introduce an idea to people in a way that's familiar to them. And it makes sense if you think about it. You know,
It also sounds like a gimmick.
well, of course, of course. And that's the whole thing. The message itself clearly is just like twisted and manipulated for
But
whatever
also
culture
the
is using
same.
it, you know? Well, exactly.
It's
that's the thing.
it's segregated and also the same.
Again, it's not for malice. It's not to try to change things in a negative way. It's just to try to spread the message to more people. And so they do it.
Then let's all say it's one thing and let's spread one message all together.
Okay, fair enough. But when your mission is to spread the good word of Jesus Christ,
It's my ethnicity involved.
do you remember hearing about that guy that like went into that culture? Or no, I'm sorry, he like went into that like restricted tribal area in some country. I don't remember. He was trying to like spread Jesus and like bring the Bible to them, and they shot him with arrows.
Wait, because they didn't see a white man before or anything.
Yeah,
Wait,
yeah, some shit like that.
It was like very.
He should not have been there.
Yes. Yeah.
He was being
Oh
very
my
dumb.
God! What island is that? It's an island.
Yes, I don't remember the name though.
Fuck.
Yeah, those people don't fuck around.
Yeah.
They see someone they don't know, they get eaten by jaguars in the middle of the night. All right,
Yeah.
they shoot something.
I gotta show you this video. I don't know the name of it, but I know the adjectives for it. Have you seen the video of like the documentation of they found this tribe that has never seen the white man, and there's a bunch of
actually.
yes, but they showed them
Giving them clothes and stuff
showed
like
them
that? Was it that
they didn't
one?
even have spoons. They were looking at spoons and forks like it was some alien technology. And they had soup. They made soup for everybody, and they gave them spoons, and they started using the spoons. But then, like 2 minutes later, everybody stopped using the utensils and started going back to their old way of eating. And they were getting the soup like this, and they were drinking it, and like everything was with hands.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
It must have been a similar documentary, but I saw one about. It was like one of the last tribes that have never been in contact with people.
It has to be the same one.
It has to, yeah.
It was probably not.
And it was in the Amazon.
Yeah, the dude was wearing a white shirt. I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
I just remember that.
It was really cool.
We got decent memories.
Yeah, we have pretty good memories. Like
Yeah.
some people say I have the memory of an elephant.
I have the memory of a mouse, which is pretty good.
Have you heard this thing about like elephants like finding watering holes that they haven't been to?
Oh
since
yeah,
they were little
yeah.
baby elephants. They remember how to get there.
I saw some cool experiments at not experiments, but shows with elephants at the Brookfield Zoo.
Ah, yes, the Brookfield Zoo.
Yeah. They it's like the old game where you have like a ball and like 3 cups.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I lost it and the elephant found it.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to do some more studying, man.
They were fast, man. They were actually fast. Like, they were getting it, and the elephant found it.
Now,
I lost
this
it.
is mostly conditioning they've proven, but nonetheless amazing. Have you seen the elephants that can draw with like paint, and they paint elephants?
Gorillas.
Gorillas can do that too, huh?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't didn't it come out on that gorillas and what would you call the whole species of like monkeys, primates that are they're in their stages of Stone Age?
I've heard this as a theory.
They're making. There's videos of chimpanzees using spears to fish.
Yep, I've heard that.
And man, where did we come from? You
Planet
know,
of the Apes, bro. They're gonna take over.
Just seeing even dogs, like everything's getting smarter. Dogs are evolving. Dogs are getting way smarter than they were. Everything's evolving.
Well, so there's a theory about that. Like, is intelligence convergent, meaning that all intelligent species will, like you just said, gradually become more and more intelligent.
For sure.
If that's the case, there's arguments against it because we dominate so much of things, we would like almost prevent it from happening. But like with apes, we can't watch every ape tribe to make sure they don't become more intelligent. It's gonna happen. I think
I totally disagree with that because I think it's just we get more intelligent,
right?
Just because obviously they're in enclosed spaces because we may control anything, but like those people have not people, the animals have children, and it's just your experiences, and I think animals teach experiences also. You know,
I mean, I 100% agree, and there's also experiences that get passed through your genes that you don't even know.
Yeah. I think it's
one of the most.
I think you can't stop that.
One of the most interesting experiences, also that experiments, also that Rupert Sheldrake guy. He talks about they have these chicks, and they start with chicks that they found in the wild. So they've seen hawks. They've seen hawks fly over, and they get scared and they run away. And so they had like multiple generations of these chicks in captivity, so they never see the sky, never see a bird, anything like that. And then they release them, and multiple generations later, they'll fly a fake hawk shadow over, won't be scared at all. Looks like a bird flying over, but it's not until they fly a real hawk over. Again, animals that have never seen the sky and never seen a bird in their life instinctually know that it's dangerous and run and hide.
And
they've never seen one, never lived outside.
And also did not fall. Think about that. Something in the sky that's a prop.
Didn't fall for it.
That's
What's
insane.
going on there?
Well, that's the whole thing
Intelligence.
That's the whole thing with Joe Rogan's stand-up. And we saw it in our lives because we got a Kiki.
We got a little
Kiki named Blair. It's Taylor's cat, but she's a indoor cat, and the primal, and also realizing how primal we are. We think we're very, very aware. We think we're very intelligent because we've learned all these things. We're in this very modern society, but we have very primal, just intuitions that are ingrained in us. And the Joe Rogan skit was he's had an indoor cat that has never been outside, but when he sees a bird outside, he'll just be looking at it and just like preying on it. And it's like, oh, I remember. And our cat Blair was an indoor cat, but we've been letting her outside now because we realized that she's really good outside. And today she was going after a squirrel, just like you just see the predator rage of kill.
In them, like
it's
stalking.
ingrained, no matter. And where did think about the realities that Blair was in? It was a domesticated cat indoors, had Blair, and still just instilled. Hey,
I gotta pee. Do you want to wrap this up?
I gotta pee too. Bad.
Nice. Is this?
Dude, that was tight.
Is that an adequate podcast?
That was good.
Great conversation.
We're at
my
78 minutes.
Hey, can you tell everyone where to find Privileged Cavemen?
At Privileged Cavemen on all platforms. It was so
all platforms.
platforms. I'm sorry, I'm kind of drunk. I'm just, like slurring now. I've had 2
I
beers.
feel a little bit tipsy.
I've had
myself.
2 beers. I'm screwed.
I've had at least 3.
Wasted.
Schwasty.
Spread love. We love you.
Peace, guys.
At Privileged Cavemen.